Royal Hogs have just received one of the biggest buffs the game has ever seen, and I'm going to show you how to make the most of it. My name's Toby, and I'm going to make sure you get this deck right every single time. So if you like this video or like the deck, why not hit me up on Twitch? You can find me there every Saturday and Sunday at 12 noon UK time, and during the quarantine I'll be there every night at 7:30 PM during the week. The deck I'm going to showcase today consists of the Hill Spirit, the Ice Golem, the Log, Earthquake, Mini P.E.K.K.A, Hunter, Magic Archer and the Royal Hogs. So let's go about this how we normally would. We'll take the deck apart, take a look at each card and its role within the deck, how the cards synergise together. Then when we're done, I'll give some final thoughts and I'll go through some substitutes so that you can make the deck more free-to-play friendly or just more beneficial to your levels. So first up, let's look at the deck. Hill Spirit. Now you could use your Hill Spirit defensively to drag the opponent's troops over a little bit and save yourself a little bit of time and damage. But let's be serious, there's only one time that you want to be playing the Hill Spirit, and that's behind a set of Royal Hogs. Not only will this allow you to cycle back to your Hogs ever so slightly quicker, but when the opponent puts a Zap down, a Fireball, a Valkyrie, anything like that, this angry little guy is going to mitigate a lot of that damage and buy you those precious hits on the enemy's tower. Ice Golem. This is one of the most popular tanks within the game. You wouldn't think so looking at his health, but his low cost, his death damage and his low speed, yes, his low speed make him one of the most amazing glass tanks on the offense and amazing to kite any attack across the arena while your other troops decimate that attack from a distance. The Log. There's not much I can say about the Log that I haven't said before. You can gain so much additional value with it because it kills so many free cost cards like the Princess, the Goblin Gang or the Skami, but on top of that, just cycling it for chip damage on the tower is a good deal. Earthquake. This is included in the deck for one reason and one reason only. The meta has outright demanded it. Whether you're using the Earthquake against a cannon in a 2.6 Hog Cycle deck, a Tesla Tower in a Log Bait deck, or a Bomb Tower or Barbarian Hut in an Elixir Golem healer deck, this is going to be your best friend if you can't get those Hogs to reach the tower. Alternatively, if you're struggling to get anything to stick, a good strategy would be to cycle Earthquakes and Logs, just getting some good value damage on the enemy tower. Then when the opponent makes a mistake, you can capitalise on it by sending in a Snorting Stampede and a Hill Spirit and a Magic Archer to snipe the tower. Mini P.E.K.K.A. This is the first of your two incredible tank killers. Put the Mini P.E.K.K.A in front of a Giant or a Golem and he will get through them with ease. He can even stop a Hog Rider from getting to your tower outright if placed correctly. Just don't let him get surrounded. He hits hard, but he hits very slowly. An interesting way that I personally like to look at the Mini P.E.K.K.A is exactly as the name suggests. Too many people look at the Mini P.E.K.K.A separately from the Big Mama P.E.K.K.A, when the only difference is actually the cost and the health. In every other aspect, they are exactly the same. Hunter. This is the second of your two tank killers, so you can stick him in front of a Giant or a Golem if you don't have the Mini P.E.K.K.A available, but he's also going to be your main defense against any air decks. The Hunter's Shotgun is one of the very few weapons within the game that can work its way through a tank and a squishy swarm. So with that said, bear in mind the Hunter is going to be your best friend if you're playing against an Elixir Golem. Place him right in front of the first form Elixir Golem and he'll work through him very, very quickly. Then, as the Elixir Golem splits into Golemites, he can one-shot the Golemites, and the droplets he can kill multiple at a time. Stepping away from this deck, he's the card to take if you're seeing a lot of Elixir Golem. Magic Archer. Although you can use the Magic Archer on defense, and I would recommend doing it if the situation calls for it, the primary role that the Magic Archer is going to fill for you is to snipe the enemy tower through the enemy's defensive troops. This means that the enemy tower's counterattack is basically going to be dead before it's even started. Just be very careful about your placement of the Magic Archer. On the offense, obviously there's a bit of geometry involved, but on the defense, you need to make sure that you don't place him near your other troops. If the opponent's carrying a Fireball, Poison, Rocket, or Lightning, you're going to give him superb value if you put him near your other troops. Royal Hogs. These little piggies are the crown jewel of this deck, and there's a few ways that you could use them. First up, there's the obvious push of putting all of the hogs on one side of the arena with a hill spirit behind them. You could also put them down behind an ice golem so that the ice golem tanks, and with each hog you will gain exponentially more headbutts the longer the ice golem survives. You can also send the hogs in on their own, and then when the enemy puts down their defense, you can play a bit of geometry with the magic archer and snipe the enemy tower to get some extra damage that way. You can also build up split pushes with this deck, so you can put an ice golem and hill spirit going down the left hand side behind the king tower, and then a mini packer going down the right hand side, and then as they cross the bridge, you can put the hogs in the middle and have 2 hogs go each way, so you can take both towers at the same time. If you're given any evidence that the opponent has a building in their deck, make sure that when you send the hogs in, you have an earthquake handy. The same is true for the log if they're defending a lot with this Scarby or a goblin gang. Predictive log their defense away. Replay time! So my first move here is to cycle out the elixir golem, ice golem. It only costs 2 elixir. It's a really good first move if you're carrying the elixir golem, because it forces your opponent to sort of show their hand and what their overall plan is going to be. So right here we're going to go for a set of hogs in front of the hunter, just keeping him alive, seeing if we can splash onto him. Unfortunately the heal spirits did get logged away there, but I do now know that they're running the log, and I need to be careful whenever I use the heal spirit. Okay, so they're going to get a good value poison here. Just so you can see me getting ready with an ice spirit down the bottom there. I think I place it at the bridge here, and I go in for a set of hogs, I believe. Oh no, right. So we're going to kill off the skeleton barrel with the log, making sure that we catch them. Always time your log just right. If you time it ever so slightly too late, they will get damaged regardless. There you go. You can see the hill spirit going in behind the hogs. You know, getting a lot of good value healing there because they'd been splashed onto with that bomb. But yeah, whenever you're dealing with the skeleton barrel, always make sure that you time your logs just right. Do it too early, you won't kill anything. Do it too late, and you will take damage from the skeletons. And you can see that timing just there again. So I placed my heal spirit a bit after the hogs this time, just because I was worried about the log and also the bomb tower. So had I put the heal spirit in with the hogs, the bomb tower would have just wrecked that heal spirit, and I wouldn't have got any value out of it, other than maybe cycling towards the next set of hogs. But that's not the most ideal thing to take away. Obviously, we want to keep our stuff alive for as long as possible. So failure to catch the miner here, but there's no worries. So we're going to go for a dual push here. So we've got a counter attack on the right hand side and just a regular attack on the left. Just trying to get as much value as we can out of the mini packer and the magic archer. So with 10 seconds left, we take the tower. Nice and easy, nice easy game. You can see me starting to surround the tower on the right hand side, just in case they manage to pull something off. So let's get into game number 2. So this game's against a very generic elixir golem healer deck. I'm seeing them all over the show, especially in challenges at the moment, and it's just horrible to deal with. Luckily, they missed the mark on that barbarian barrel, and we managed to get a heal spirit off onto the barbarian, which is amazing, meaning that we actually managed to get some value out of that. So I'm just tidying up here, and we're going to try and keep this one health hunter alive for as long as we possibly can. If we can get some value out of him, then fantastic. If not, then we won't. But we're getting some good value out of that hunter, all because of one ice golem. So you can see I wasn't particularly sure as to what I needed to do to defend on that left-hand side, because you know, although I deal with this deck a lot, it's not something I dealt with using this deck. So I was a bit sort of, do I try and rush the other side? Do I not? With hindsight, I should have definitely defended that left-hand side a lot better. Because there was a point at which the Electro Dragon was on 1 health, and that would have been fantastic. So you can see here, they've put a Baby Dragon down, so that's when I've gone in with a Heal Spirit behind the Hogs, just to make sure I get as good value out of that Heal Spirit as I possibly can. So this is just a case of distract and keep my tower as healthy as I possibly can. I want to kill off the Electro Dragon first, that's why I'm hanging on to this hunter so much. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure why I put the ice column down there. I was a bit nervy playing this game. I thought I was recording them live. There was a mistake there, but anyway, it's besides the point. So we're going in for a rush on the left-hand side. Obviously, there was an intention here of sort of following through and trying to get the 3 crown, but then when they started pushing the right-hand side, so right, okay, we just need to defend and distract all of this stuff as much as we possibly can. And there you go. So that's everything defended. We've nearly taken the left-hand tower, but unfortunately, we don't quite manage to take it in this game. But so with a bit more practice, I'm sure that the defense against an Elixir Golem deck would go a lot better than this one did in future games. So as with any deck, it does just come down to practice. So let's go into the next game. So this match is against a pretty interesting Golem beatdown deck. So you can see both of us not really sure how we want to start, but I settled down on a Hog and a Heal Spirit, and I would say that was definitely the right choice. So we're going to try and distract the Lumberjack and the Baby Dragon with a Hunter here, and an Ice Golem as well, I believe, just to make sure the Hunter actually stays alive and kills both things. So the last thing we want when we're facing a Golem beatdown deck is to take any unnecessary damage. So again, I wasn't particularly sure as to what I needed to do here, and then these 2 skeletons started, like, they threatened wrecking my entire push there, so I had to send in the Heal Spirit there, but we actually got some really good value out of that Heal Spirit. So here we're going to put a Hunter down underneath the Electro Dragon. Again, I find it really irritating, and I'm not going to lie, I thought I would have caught the bomber sort of hitting the tower at that point, but I was a second or two just a little bit too early, so unfortunately we did lose the tower, but we're gonna go in pretty hard and just wait for the next golem and go in as hard as we can on the right hand side. So here comes the golem. So we send in the mini P.E.K.K.A to sort of hit the golem as hard as we can, and then we get the Hog and the Ice Spirit going in as hard as we can. The Heal Spirit ends up taking down some skeletons, but we do get a little bit of a heal there, which is very lucky. So at least we got some value out of it. And then it's just a case of ripping through this golem as quickly as we can. And I hoped to catch the Lumberjack there with the Ice Golem. It was a bit unfortunate that we didn't. But we're now going to go in for another Hog push in front of a mini P.E.K.K.A. I think I send in an Earthquake maybe at this point as well. No worries, but we're ripping through this Golem. He's given us a superb value Golem to just rip through here. It's an amazing feeling when people make plays like that. So here we're trying to cycle back to the hogs, and we're just going to go in again for another push onto that right hand tower. Unfortunately they do use the tornado, but it's alright because we can cycle back pretty quickly. We're going to pop a hunter on this golem, and we're going to cycle back through to the hogs as quickly as we can. And then at this point, it should be a nice, easy case to take the victory. And there we go. And then 84 damage. You can see me like counting. Like I test the waters because I didn't know how much damage the log did on at tournament level cap, but it was exact damage, which was quite lucky. Overall, I think this deck is outstanding. There's so many little tricks that you can pick up along the way, and it's not got that high of a learning curve. The hardest thing to do is to get the geometry right with the Magic Archer. It's also worth noting that in my opinion, this deck is the best showcase of how good the Hill Spirit actually is. Before I saw the Hill Spirit behind a set of hogs, I thought the Hill Spirit was going to be utilised just as much as the Hill Spirit was. In terms of substitutions, there are a couple that will allow you to play this deck on ladder if your levels aren't quite up to scratch. First up, a couple of substitutions for the Mini P.E.K.K.A. The first here is the Valkyrie. If her level is higher than your Mini P.E.K.K.A.'s, I would recommend taking her anyway, but she also has the benefit of having a very, very high health and damage to cost ratio, and on top of that, her splash damage will help against squishier decks like Logbait, so if you're seeing a lot of those kinds of decks, the Valkyrie is the choice for you. The second option isn't quite as free to play friendly, but the Lumberjack is very, very interesting. The Mini P.E.K.K.A. and Lumberjack both fill very similar roles, so they can both work their way through a Giant or a Golem very, very quickly, but Lumberjack is slightly better at dealing with things like Goblin Gang simply because of his faster hit speed, but imagine a Lumberjack in front of a set of Royal Hogs. This substitute will allow a completely separate punishment in the opposite lane if the opponent goes for something like a Golem or Lava Hound in the back. You can just put a Lumberjack down, a set of Royal Hogs behind it, and you're almost guaranteed to take that tower. There is an obvious substitute for the Hill Spirit in the Ice Spirit. Both spirits have the exact same health and damage, it just depends on what interaction you would like. Also, if you've been playing 2.6 Hog a lot, then your Ice Spirit is obviously going to be a much higher level than your Hill Spirit is. Now the Log is an amazing card, but it is a legendary, which means it's hard to level up. If this is the case for you and you don't have a very high leveled Log, the Zap is the card to go for. If you take the Zap, it's worth noting that you're going to need to pair it with the Hill Spirit to get the additional damage to kill things like the Princess or a set of minions or goblins. The Zap could also be a good option if you're seeing a lot of minions being used to kill off your Royal Hogs. The Zap and Hill Spirit will kill off a set of equally leveled minions, assuming you're sticking to my card leveling guide, which you can watch right here. If your Hunter isn't particularly well leveled, you could take him out for the Executioner or Wizard, but bear in mind you're not going to be able to kill tanks quite as easily as if you had the Hunter, because he's so good at taking down tanks. The Magic Archer is taken in this deck because of his unique ability to snipe the enemy tower from your side of the field, but if the opponents are taking a lot of fireballs, it might be worth swapping him out for the Musketeer so that she can at least survive the fireball. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you using this deck in one of my tournaments over on Twitch. You can find me there every Saturday and Sunday at 12 noon UK time, and at 7:30 PM every single weekday during the quarantine. Please consider hitting that like button, the subscribe button, and don't forget that alert bell if you want to see more of my content. And as always, have a good day, have a good night, and I'll see you in the next one. Just got out of a swimming pool. Let's do this. Let's get down. Let's get down. So I've just got out of a swimming pool. It's all flowing. You go, whoo, and then Cringe Gaming, an amazing time to jump in the chat. That was Manny WCR. Thank you for the follow.